I knew my marriage was already broken the night my wife asked me how much money I would lose if we divorced. Not what would happen to us, not what would happen to our home, not even what would happen to our daughter. She asked it while standing at the kitchen counter, scrolling through her phone like she was checking the weather. "Just curious," Melissa said. "If we ever separated, how much would I get?" I looked up from the sink with my hands still wet. "What kind of a question is that?" She smiled without looking at me. "Relax. It's just something women talk about." That was the first time I noticed she didn't say married women. She said women, like she had already stopped seeing herself as my wife. At the time, I was working 60 hours a week managing deliveries for a furniture company. Not glamorous work, but steady. I paid the mortgage, the insurance, most of the bills, and anything our daughter needed. Melissa worked part-time at a salon, mostly because she said full-time work made her feel trapped. I never complained. I thought marriage meant carrying each other when life got heavy. What I didn't know was that while I was carrying the weight, she was planning how to cut me in half. Her phone changed first. It used to sit face up on the coffee table, buzzing with group chats and recipe videos. Then suddenly it was always face down, always locked, always in her hand. When I walked into a room, conversations ended. When I asked who she was texting, she'd sigh like I was exhausting her. "Do you hear yourself?" she'd say. "You're becoming paranoid." That word became her favorite weapon. Paranoid, insecure, controlling. Anytime my gut told me something was wrong, she gave that feeling an ugly name and handed it back to me. The man's name was Derek. I learned it by accident, though later I realized nothing about their affair was accidental. One evening, Melissa left her laptop open on the dining table. Our daughter needed to print a school worksheet, so I sat down to help her. A notification slid across the corner of the screen. "Derek, did you talk to the lawyer yet?" My chest went cold. I didn't click it. I didn't have to. A second message appeared. "Derek, babe, once you get half his income, we can finally stop sneaking around." I remember the house going silent around me. The dishwasher was running. The television was on low in the living room. My daughter was humming upstairs. But inside me, everything stopped. For a minute, I just stared at those words. Half his income. Not, "I love you." Not, "I miss you." Not even, "I hate lying." Just a plan. A calculation, a future built from my exhaustion. That night, Melissa came home smelling like perfume I hadn't bought her, and rain that hadn't touched our street. She kissed our daughter on the forehead, then smiled at me like she hadn't just become a stranger. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm tired." She laughed softly. "You're always tired." There it was again. That little cut, small enough to deny, sharp enough to bleed. For the next week, I said nothing. Not because I was weak, because I was finally thinking clearly. I found the bank withdrawals, hotel charges disguised as spa supplies, a second phone bill paid from her salon account, screenshots she forgot were syncing to the laptop. And then I found the messages that explained everything. Derek wasn't just her affair partner. He was encouraging her, telling her I was too passive to fight back, telling her to make me look unstable, telling her to provoke arguments, record only my reactions, and use them later. One message from Melissa burned into me. "He works too much. He'll look like an absent husband. I can get support and still keep the house." Derek replied, "Perfect. Let him fund our life for once." I sat in my truck outside work that morning and cried for the first time in years. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet tears I couldn't stop. because I had spent years believing I was building a home. She had spent months designing an exit. If you've ever had to rebuild yourself after someone you loved turned your kindness into a weakness, share your experience below. And subscribe for more stories about betrayal, healing, and finding your dignity again. The breaking point came on a Friday. Melissa told me she was going out with friends. Same black dress, same careful makeup, same fake casual voice. Before she left, she looked at me and said, "You should really think about getting therapy. You've been emotionally difficult lately." I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "You're right." She blinked. "I am?" "Yes, I made an appointment." That seemed to please her. She didn't know the appointment was with a divorce attorney. The lawyer's office smelled like paper, coffee, and old wood. Her name was Carla, and she listened without interrupting while I showed her everything. Messages, receipts, bank records, screenshots. When I finished, she leaned back and said, "Your wife thinks you're asleep." I looked at her. Carla tapped the folder. "But you're not." For the first time in weeks, I breathed. I moved carefully after that. I separated accounts, changed direct deposits, documented expenses, stopped reacting when Melissa tried to bait me. When she said I was cold, I said, "I'm sorry you feel that way." When she accused me of not caring, I said, "I'm listening." When she slammed cabinets hoping I'd raise my voice, I stayed calm. Her confidence started cracking. She checked my face more often, asked strange questions. "Are you hiding something?" I almost said, "You taught me how." But I didn't. The confrontation happened 3 weeks later. She came home and found the envelope on the kitchen table, her name printed on the front. Inside were the divorce papers. Her face changed before she touched them. "What is this?" "The thing you were planning," I said. "Only now I know about Derek." She went pale, then angry, then wounded, all in less than 10 seconds. "I don't know what you think you know." I slid the printed messages across the table. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. For once, silence belonged to her. Then came the tears. Not the kind I used to trust. These were desperate tears, strategic tears, tears looking for a door. "You neglected me," she whispered. "I worked to support us." "You were never emotionally available." "You were having an affair while planning to take my income." She wiped her face and looked at me like I was supposed to rescue her from the truth. "Derek said you'd overreact." I nodded. I'm sure he did. 2 months later, Derek was gone. Funny how romance gets weaker when it comes with court dates, financial disclosures, and real consequences. Melissa didn't get the story she wanted. She didn't get the house. She didn't get to paint me as unstable. She got what the evidence allowed. And I got something better than revenge. I got peace. The first night I slept in my own apartment, I made dinner for my daughter. Nothing special. Pasta, garlic bread, grocery store salad. She sat across from me and said, "It feels quiet here." I looked around at the small kitchen, the second-hand table, the boxes still unpacked. "Is that bad?" She shook her head. "No, it feels safe." That one word healed something in me. Safe. Not rich, not perfect, not victorious. Just safe. I used to think betrayal destroyed a person all at once, but it doesn't. It breaks you in small places first. Your confidence, your memory, your ability to trust your own feelings. Then one day, if you're lucky, you stop asking why they did it, and you start asking why you kept accepting so little. Melissa thought my silence meant I was weak. Derek thought my kindness meant I was stupid. They were both wrong. I wasn't weak. I was loyal. And once that loyalty finally belonged to me, they had nothing left to take.